So you're watching this, maybe you have started your self-improvement, maybe you started working out, maybe you started doing deep work, maybe you started doing these habits that are actually going to be changing your life. But the problem with you is that it doesn't feel good. The hard work does not feel good. And you feel tired, you have brain fog. You're constantly trying to work, but you feel like you're missing something. Nothing wrong with the work that you're doing, but rather the fact that you suffer from severely low testosterone. Before we get into the video, if you don't know who I am, my name is Sam. On this channel, I try to guide young men on this journey of self-improvement and improving our lives. If this interests you in any sort of way, then feel free to subscribe to join my movement. So first of all, let's address the elephant in the room. So many of us young men, in fact, majority of young men have severely low testosterone because of the outside stimulus from our minds and our bodies, the time that we spend on our devices, the time that how we eat so much junk food, how we ingest so much garbage inside of ourselves that our body can't produce it. And we live in a time where it's so easy to live our life. I mean, you don't have to go out there and go hunt like how our ancestors did. And we eat all this processed foods, all these plastics and stuff. So our bodies are naturally going to produce low testosterone. More likely than not, you've probably heard of testosterone before. It's a hormone that is actually inside of your body that your body produces. And obviously, as men, we are naturally going to have more testosterone than women. So how is it exactly important? So testosterone is actually going to be the thing that actually, it's going to be one of the things that's going to make hard work feel good. It's one of the best ways you can actually characterize it. So it's also going to be the thing that's actually helping you to have energy to go do these things. You're working out, testosterone is going to benefit you. You're trying to build muscle, lose fat, it's going to benefit you. It's going to help with your brain fog. You're not gonna sit down and you're gonna just doing these tasks, but then all you almost feel like there's just a gap, like you lose your knowledge and it's just everything feels lost. Having a higher amount of testosterone is going to be crucial for you to actually do these habits. It's going to help out all aspects of your life. You're going to walk around, you're going to be more confident. It's almost like that secret formula to actually making it and actually doing the things you want to do. The problem with a lot of us is over the years, like I said, we have grown into conformity. A lot of our lives are much easier than the people before us. We have we have food at all times. We don't have to worry about trying to go approach people to start conversations because we have devices for that. You don't have to worry about so much of these things that were a basic human function because now life is so easy to the point where we don't have to worry about what our next meal is. We don't have to worry if we're going to survive. We don't have to worry about these things that previously we did. We don't have to move at all. I mean, let's think about that. Naturally, us as humans, we were meant to be hunters and gatherers. You're supposed to go running out for hours at a time, but we don't live those lives anymore. Now, obviously, we're not going to try to go out in the wild and go live out in the wild, but we want to get more testosterone to be able to actually benefit us and for all of the habits that we do to just be amplified, really. So we're going to break it down into really a few central things because that's really all it comes down to when it comes to testosterone. First one we're going to talk about is your diet. So right now, if you're eating a diet that consists of a bunch of fucking ingredients, like, okay, before you go eat a food, look at the ingredients in there. If it has more than like even five, then they better be at least clean ingredients, or they better be at least clean ingredients, or it better be less than five because you don't want to have so many ingredients in your food. I mean, whenever you look at the ingredients in a Big Mac, look at all those ingredients. You can't even pronounce what the fucking words say. Imagine that. You're eating stuff and then you see that it's chemicals and it's these plastics and these seed oils that are awful for you. Obviously, plastics, you should not be ingesting plastics in your body. Obviously. I mean, I don't think I need to sit here and explain that to you guys. But what many people don't even understand is that a lot of the cheese that we eat is actually have a lot of plastic. So what's funny enough is that when it comes to American cheese, I'm talking about American sliced cheese, it's only required to be about 55% actual cheese. So the rest of it, a lot of the times, if you're eating those square things of American cheese, it's actually most of it's plastic. It's not even real cheese. It's just filler. For the gist of all the sort of diet stuff that you need to change, let's break it down for the 20% of things that's going to give you 80% of the results. So eating stuff like eggs, drinking raw milk, eating some vegetables, actually eating just whole foods, but mostly things like meats and then eggs, and then raw, and then some dairy. These things are really going to be the things that are actually going to increase your testosterone. Eggs, mostly because it contains almost every single micronutrient you could think of. Same thing as raw milk. But when it comes to eggs, eggs also has a lot of cholesterol, but it has HDL, not LDL. LDL will decrease your testosterone. HDL will increase your testosterone. And eggs have a fucking shit ton of it. So if you're not already, start eating eggs every single day. I made a whole video earlier, and I'll link it right here, talking about why you should eat eggs, all the benefits of it. But it is absolutely amazing for your testosterone levels if you're not already eating it. So funny enough, I already told you guys how actually eating raw, not raw foods, eating whole foods is actually going to be good for your testosterone. But there's actually a few foods that actually come up on top in terms of actually increasing your testosterone. I mentioned eggs, I mentioned raw milk, but I also, stuff that you wouldn't even think of is raw honey. So if you go to the store, there's honey, and if it says raw honey, then this is what you're looking for. It's gonna be something that it's gonna be a little more expensive than regular honey. I have to warn you that. But it is actually proven that it actually contains some antioxidants that are actually going to help you increase your testosterone. It's scientifically backed. If you start just eating honey, eating raw honey, because we're not talking about this regular honey that has like all these preservatives inside of it, because it kills the nutrients. You want raw honey, honey that is actually taken care of, and honey that's actually going to be beneficial for you. Look into it. If it says, really look into it and make sure that it's actually raw honey. So another thing you can actually start to eat, which this is really really cool, I still do it, is eating raw carrots is too. I mean, I know it's this theme of raw foods, but eating raw carrots, what does this mean? This literally means that instead of you getting the baby carrots, we're not talking about those baby carrots. We're talking about the full on long carrots with like the stem on the top of it. You want to get those because the actual skin of it, because what they do with baby carrots is they chop off the skin and just leave the insides of it. You're killing the best nutrients of the carrot. So the carrot is not actually going to increase your testosterone, but rather lower your free estrogen levels. So obviously, estrogen, an increase in estrogen is going to bring down your testosterone. Obviously, so actually eating carrots is going to clear up your estrogen levels while also detoxing your body. So eating raw carrots, like I said, bro, literally go to the store. Like we're talking about those full on carrots with like the stem and then like the hard outside on it, like the bumpy outside. We're looking for those carrots. They're really cheap, they're really easy to find. Absolutely try to get those. So those are just some general foods that are going to help increase your testosterone. Really just stick to mostly whole foods. Like for instance, if you like french fries, start eating potatoes. Just like go buy potatoes and go cook them. If you like, I don't know, fried chicken, go get chicken. Really it's as simple as trying to implement the first ingredient of the foods in your diet. You want to limit these ingredients. You want to limit how many ingredients are in the food that you're eating, because the more ingredients, the more likely that you're eating something that's going to be lowering your testosterone. And one of the worst things you can do is actually eating seed oils. So this is stuff like canola oil, this is sunflower oil, this is stuff like seed oils in general and canola oil. These oils are going to be awful for you. These seed oils are have a lot of polyunsaturated fats, and these are actually going to be interfering with the production of testosterone. So before you go out and go eat like a chicken sandwich somewhere, like from Chick-fil-A for instance, they put a buttload of canola oil in their sandwiches, bro. That's absolutely terrible for your testosterone. And if you like to cook your own meals, start using stuff like olive oil or avocado oil. These oils that are not seed oils that are actually going to be good for you. Thing is exercise. How much you're actually exercising throughout the day. So obviously, like let's imagine the people who had the most amount of testosterone were probably the ones who were out there hunting in the fields, trying to go kill a mammoth. Let's think about that. But obviously, there's no mammoths for us to go kill. Obviously, so we have to almost make a sub, like make somewhat of a substitute for that. So what you're gonna want to try to do is you want to actually try to just move around throughout the day. Find something to do where you're moving around throughout the day. So your body actually understands, okay, so we're going to be moving around a lot. So we actually have to accommodate for these things, for this movement. Obviously, this comes down to like the running, this comes down to weightlifting. But what I found, the things that have actually noticeably increased my testosterone levels was actually just doing stuff like squats and like heavy carries, heavy lifts. So squats is something that's interesting. So first of all, squats one of my favorite exercises. And the thing about it is that since you're using such a massive amount, like you're using basically your entire lower half of your body, Your body is put through so much stress. Like we're talking about weighted squats, by the way. Your body's being put through so much stress that it has to accommodate for it, and it is actually forced to increase testosterone and human growth hormone, both things that are going to be absolutely crucial for any aspect of your life, bro. So what you could start doing is what I recommend you guys to do is if you're going to squat, like let's say you have a gym, you're gonna go squat. Start to Okay, so what I recommend you guys do is to do cluster sets because more likely right now you're probably not too advanced in your lifting if you're watching this video. And so going to one set of failure is probably not conducive for you right now. What you want to try to do is actually try to have 5 sets of 5. This is what a cluster set is, where basically you put on really heavy weight that you can only really do for about maybe 5, 6 reps. And what you're going to try to do is you're going to try to do that for 5 sets. So you can actually plug in a shit ton of volume while also lifting a lot of weights. What this is going to do is it's actually going to force your body to believe, okay, so we have to increase testosterone because we're putting through this insane amount of stress. So really, I'd highly recommend you guys, if you're not already, start squatting. If you don't have a gym, you can't work out. Obviously, you can do body squats, but it's not going to be as good for it. So I would recommend going into something like heavy carries. Go fill up some bags, fill it some weights or some water or something, and go walking with them. Do farmers walks where you're walking with 2 things in your hand, or maybe you're walking with 1 thing in your hand. You're going to walk long distance with it. Diet, and we also spoke about exercising. Obviously, sleep. Obviously, you want to get enough sleep. I'm not going to cover this too much because you guys already understand how important sleep is for literally anything you're doing in this field. It's important for your fitness. It's important for your mental health. It's important for your testosterone as well. So try to get quality sleep. What I will tell you guys, another thing is getting sunlight. Actually, getting sunlight is going to be extremely important because we need a whole lot of vitamin D. So this can also go into somewhat of the supplements category if you want to, but preferably if you can go out outside as far as long as you can. So like let's say you're going out exercising and stuff, go out like a fucking caveman and just go run outside. Go even if it's cloudy, you're still getting that sunlight. What a lot of us don't understand is that we need a lot of vitamin D. Like we need a shit ton of vitamin D. It's not just like a 3,000 4,000 IU's of vitamin D like how a lot of doctors are. We need a shit ton of vitamin D as humans for us to actually function and actually function properly. So what you can actually start doing is you can start going outside for an hour or 2 hours every single day, as really just as much as you possibly can. And if you can't go outside, then start supplementing with vitamin D. And if you're wanting a range, I'd say roughly about 7,000 to 10,000 IU's. If you go to a doctor, a lot of the times they're going to be recommending a lower dosage because a lot of the times doctors are kind of reinforced to believe that a lower dosage of vitamin D is going to suffice when a lot of the times it's not. We as humans need a lot of vitamin D. It is something because vitamin D is actually going to help produce your testosterone. It's going to help actually build it up. So you need a shit ton of it. So it's anywhere from 7,000 to 10,000 a day. Obviously, you can go a little further than that, but don't go obviously too far because it is a fat soluble vitamin. So getting too much of it, you can potentially overdose, but that's realistically not going to happen. And realistically, it's not something that is really common or something that really happens. But don't take like fucking 10,000 IU pills a day. Obviously, I want to get into another thing if we're talking about vitamin D. Another thing is getting your electrolytes, getting your magnesium, your chloride, getting your sodium, getting your potassium. These things are actually going to be helpful for building up your testosterone. So try to invest into a good type of sports drink, or go buy stuff like specifically. If you were going to buy a supplement, then buy magnesium and zinc because these 2 things are probably the most important things besides vitamin D for actually building up your testosterone levels because a lot of the times people are deficit in these things because most of the time, I mean, let's be honest, a lot of the foods we eat are not going to have magnesium and zinc. That's stuff that's going to be found in like seafood. That's going to be stuff that's going to be found in like oysters. It's going to be stuff that's found in like pumpkin seeds. There's going to be stuff that's found like magnesium's found in like a lot of greens. Most of the time, we're not eating these things. Like, let's be honest. So, if you want to, you can start supplementing with magnesium and then also zinc. They're 2 things that are absolutely going to change your testosterone levels, and also, honestly, just going to improve your sleep as well. Just for you guys before I end the video. So, one thing that's actually going to increase your testosterone, which I'm sure only a small portion of you are actually going to implement is actually going to go speak to women that you're attracted to. So there's actually multiple studies done that whenever a man, whenever he goes up and goes speak to a woman that he is attracted to, especially if it's somebody who he hasn't really spoken to before, his testosterone is actually going to increase. So you cold approaching that one girl at the gym that you think's really attractive is actually going to help boost your testosterone, bro. Now, for whatever reason it is, I'm not sure. Maybe it's the idea that whenever we were caveman, we were fighting over mates and stuff. But actually speaking to women, and I'm not saying it has to be like a different girl every single time, but really just speaking to a woman that you are attracted to is actually going to help increase your testosterone. I know only a very small portion of you, if any of you guys are going to do this, but this is if you're serious about actually increasing your testosterone, bro, you're going to have to go speak to women, bro. I know, crazy. Now, this is something that took me a while to implement because obviously I've always been that awkward kid, but I won't lie to you. And you maybe you've spoken to a girl that you've been attracted to. Whenever you go speak to them, for some reason afterwards you feel really powerful. Like you feel like you can go do anything. That's all I have for you boys.